Hi, it's Dr. Elisha Van Dusen at New Hope Chiropractic. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about flight safety. A lot of people fly many hours a week, either for work or for pleasure, and swollen limbs, a sore throat, headaches, heavy legs, dehydration, dizziness, and exploding eardrums, these are all symptoms of flying, and quite frankly, in many cases, they're enough to make you just want to stay at home. So your body is finely tuned to operate under certain parameters, and low oxygen levels, humidity, sudden changes of pressure, for example, can wreak havoc with it. So fortunately, there are just a couple things you can do to make your flying experience as healthy as possible. So number one is the pressure. Most planes fly at about 35,000 feet, and the air is much, much thinner and smoother up there, but less hospitable for us, so they have to pressurize the plane, which they do to an altitude of roughly 7,000 feet. So basically, that's the same effect on your body as if you were sitting at the top of a mountain for hours and hours at a time, and that can still cause your oxygen levels to dive. That can be a problem for passengers, especially that have pre-existing conditions like heart or lung disease, people who need oxygen. They need oxygen even more up in a plane, so make sure that they should make sure that they have an oxygen tank on hand. Also, other things you can experience if you have low oxygen are headaches, fatigue, brain fog, and dizziness. So here are some things you can do if you're worried about low oxygen levels. Put down the gin and tonic. Alcohol exacerbates symptoms as it interferes with your cell's metabolism, making them less efficient at absorbing oxygen. It can also cause you to dehydrate much, much faster. Give up smoking. Smoking can deplete oxygen levels by up to 8% before you've even boarded the flight. So give yourself and your lungs a fighting chance by ditching the tobacco well in advance of your flight. Travel in a large plane like a Boeing 787 or 747. Typically they have higher air pressures, like 6,000 feet, better air, it's better filtered, and just more space in general. So larger planes definitely help a lot. Sitting for long periods of time can be very, very painful, especially in the sardine can coach airline seats that they're selling nowadays. They're painfully upright, they're narrow, they're just really uncomfortable. This can also be dangerous, especially for older passengers with really bad circulation. So being seated for a long time, like on flights longer than about 4 hours, can increase the developing blood clots in your veins, also known as DVT, deep vein thrombosis. And that's not a good thing either. That can be life-threatening. It also doesn't help blood oxygen levels as blood pools in your legs and feet, preventing efficient circulation of oxygenated blood around your body and brain. And this can, of course, cause more dizziness and fainting. So it's generally recommended that you walk up and down the aisles and do small exercises to boost blood flow. Just get up and move. That's the biggest thing. Compression stockings can also prevent blood collecting in the lower limbs and can minimize uncomfortable swelling. Also, you want to wear loose-fitting clothing and very breathable fabrics which don't constrict your veins and blood flow and also keep you from overheating. Now, when you land, the pressure inside the cabin fluctuates. To the average passenger, it's the equivalent of descending at roughly 350 feet a minute as you drop from pressurized cabins of 7,000 feet to zero in about 20 minutes. So as a result, your ears pop, they can hurt, and the reason behind that is eustachian tubes inside your ear are opening and closing, trying to balance and match the changing pressure inside your ear with that outside your head. So if you have a cold, the effects of this can be more painful as the tubes won't be able to open or close as easily, and then the eardrum will bulge inwards. So the worst case scenario here is that the eardrum could rupture. So chew, yawn, suck sweets, or swallow to open the eustachian tubes. Another thing too is you can do the Valsalva maneuver, named after a 17th century physician named Antonio Maria Valsalva, and he obsessed over ears and actually pioneered this technique. So to do this, you want to hold your nose, keep your mouth shut, and then forcefully exhale. Make sure you're awake during landing so you can do the above mentioned exercises. Take a prescription decongestant only if you absolutely have to. I generally recommend against that. buy air pressure regulating earplugs, which slow the rate of air pressure in the eardrum. So those are all good things you can do. But dryness, that's another issue that plagues a lot of flyers. The air you breathe in on the plane is sucked in from the outside, but it flows through the engine, then gets compressed, cooled, filtered, and then pumped into the cabin. So at high altitudes, this can make the plane environment drier than a desert, as it contains only 66% less water than the air you actually breathe at sea level. So you want to generally have a humidity at between 30 and 64% to be comfortable, and in an aircraft that can drop dramatically down to about 2% typically. So on short flights, this amounts to dry mouth and dry nose, and on longer flights, it can mean headaches, dizziness, susceptibility to infection, and also dehydration. So things you can do, fly in crowded flights. It sounds horrible, but moisture from other passengers' breathing and perspiration can actually increase the relative humidity dramatically. In the instance of an 8-hour flight in a CD-10 with 265 passengers, the humidity level can rise to 20%. The same flight with only 108 passengers sees this level fall down to 2%. Budget flights don't have free water on tap, so buy a bottle once you've gone through security and take it on board with you instead. And it's tough to get the balance right, but you want to remain hydrated, but don't want to drink so much that you're constantly going to the bathroom. That's not really very practical either, but a good indication of adequate hydration is having smooth, hydrated lips, and I would also advise between 1 and 2 cups of water every hour to stay properly hydrated. And again, avoid alcohol or caffeinated drinks. They can act as diuretics, making you dehydrate faster. And contact lens wearers, keep a bottle of solution in your hand luggage and remove lenses early to avoid discomfort later on as they shrivel up and attach to your eyeball, and use the solution to rejuvenate tired eyes and lenses throughout the flight, keeping your eyes nice and moist. So I hope this helps, and happy travels.